In the small town of Ashwick, nestled deep within the forests of the Pacific Northwest, a series of strange occurrences had been unfolding for generations. Whispers of a cursed well, hidden somewhere in the dense woods, were a part of local lore. The well was said to be older than the town itself, and those who dared to seek it out never returned. Jenna Thompson, a 30-year-old journalist with a passion for uncovering the truth behind local legends, arrived in Ashwick with a purpose. She had received an anonymous tip about the well, along with an old, tattered map. The map's edges were frayed, and its ink had faded over time, but it was clear enough to guide her. Jenna rented a small cabin on the outskirts of the town and spent her days interviewing the townsfolk. Most were reluctant to speak about the well, their eyes filled with a mix of fear and superstition. One evening, an elderly woman named Agnes approached Jenna outside a local diner. "You're here for the well, aren't you?" Agnes asked, her voice trembling. Jenna nodded. "I am. Do you know anything about it?" Agnes hesitated, glancing around as if expecting someone to overhear. "Come to my house tonight. I'll tell you what I know." Agnes lived in a quaint, weathered house at the edge of town. When Jenna arrived, she was greeted with a warm cup of tea and a solemn expression. The old woman led her to a cozy living room where a fire crackled in the hearth. "The well is not just a legend," Agnes began, her eyes fixed on the flames. "It's real, and it's dangerous. Many years ago, a group of settlers found it. They believed it was a source of pure, magical water, but they were wrong." Jenna listened intently, her curiosity piqued. "The well is a portal," Agnes continued. "It leads to a place of darkness, a realm where malevolent spirits dwell. Those who drink from its waters are cursed, their souls trapped in eternal torment." Jenna felt a chill run down her spine. "Have you seen it?" Agnes nodded slowly. "When I was a girl, my brother and his friends went looking for it. They never came back. The town formed a search party, but all they found were their clothes, scattered around the well. No bodies, no signs of a struggle, just emptiness." Despite Agnes's warnings, Jenna's determination only grew stronger. She spent the next few days gathering supplies and studying the map. On a cloudy morning, she set out into the woods, guided by the faded lines and cryptic symbols. The forest was thick with ancient trees, their branches intertwining to form a canopy that blocked out the sun. The air was damp, and the ground was covered in a thick layer of moss. Jenna followed the map, her footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Hours passed, and the woods seemed to close in around her. She began to feel a sense of unease, as if she were being watched. Just as she was about to turn back, she spotted a clearing up ahead. There, in the center of the clearing, was the well. The well was constructed of ancient stones, covered in moss and ivy. Its mouth was wide and dark, exuding an air of foreboding. Jenna approached cautiously, peering into the black abyss. As she stood there, a cold wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it a faint, whispering voice. Jenna shivered, her mind racing with thoughts of Agnes's warning. She took a deep breath and leaned closer to the well. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her head and the world around her spun. She stumbled backward, clutching her temples. The whispering grew louder, more insistent, and she realized it was not just in her head. It was coming from the well. Jenna tried to back away, but her legs felt like lead. She collapsed to the ground, her vision blurring as the voices enveloped her. They spoke in a language she couldn't understand, yet their intent was clear. They wanted her. When Jenna awoke, she was no longer in the forest. She found herself in a vast, desolate landscape, shrouded in perpetual twilight. The sky was a murky, sickly green, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. She stood up, her body aching, and looked around. In the distance, she saw a group of shadowy figures moving towards her. Panic set in as she realized she was in the realm Agnes had described, a place of darkness and despair. The figures drew closer, and Jenna saw that they were the lost souls of those who had dared to drink from the well. Their faces were gaunt, their eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. They reached out to her, their fingers cold and clammy. Jenna tried to run, but her legs felt like they were moving through molasses. The souls surrounded her, their voices merging into a cacophony of anguish. She struggled to break free, but their grip tightened. Just as Jenna felt herself being pulled into the void, a blinding light pierced the darkness. The souls recoiled, their wails turning into shrieks of pain. Jenna shielded her eyes, and when she looked again, she saw a figure standing before her. It was an old man dressed in tattered robes, holding a staff that glowed with an ethereal light. His eyes were kind but filled with sorrow. "Who are you?" Jenna asked, her voice trembling. "I am the keeper of the well," the man replied. "I guard the portal and try to save those who fall victim to its curse." "Can you help me?" Jenna pleaded. The keeper nodded. "I can, but the path back will not be easy. You must face your deepest fears and confront the darkness within you." Jenna felt a glimmer of hope. "I'll do whatever it takes." The keeper led Jenna through the desolate landscape, guiding her with the light of his staff. They encountered many lost souls along the way, but the keeper's presence kept them at bay. As they walked, the keeper explained the origins of the well. It was created by an ancient sorcerer who sought to harness the power of the underworld. He succeeded, but at a terrible cost. The well became a gateway to a realm of darkness, and the sorcerer was consumed by his own creation. Jenna listened, her mind racing with thoughts of how to escape. Eventually, they arrived at a massive, foreboding structure, an ancient temple covered in strange symbols and runes. "The heart of the darkness lies within," the keeper said. "You must enter and confront the sorcerer's spirit. Only then can you break the curse." Jenna took a deep breath and nodded. She stepped forward, pushing open the heavy doors of the temple. Inside, the temple was a labyrinth of dark corridors and ominous chambers. Jenna felt an oppressive weight bearing down on her as she navigated the maze. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and the air was filled with the sound of distant whispers. She followed the keeper's instructions, moving deeper into the temple. As she walked, she encountered visions of her worst fears, memories of loss, failure, and pain. Each vision was more harrowing than the last, but Jenna pressed on, determined to break the curse. Finally, she reached the heart of the temple, a grand hall with a towering altar at its center. On the altar stood a spectral figure, shrouded in darkness. It was the sorcerer. The sorcerer's eyes glowed with malevolent energy as he turned to face Jenna. "You dare to challenge me," he hissed, his voice echoing through the hall. Jenna's heart pounded in her chest, but she stood her ground. "I'm here to break the curse and free the souls you've trapped." The sorcerer laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Jenna's spine. "You are but a mortal. What makes you think you can succeed where so many have failed?" "I have the keeper's guidance," Jenna replied, her voice steady. "And I have my own strength." The sorcerer's form wavered, becoming more substantial as he stepped down from the altar. "Very well," he sneered. "Let us see if you can face the darkness within." With a wave of his hand, the hall was plunged into darkness. Jenna could hear the whispers of the damned souls surrounding her, their cold fingers brushing against her skin. She struggled to maintain her composure, focusing on the keeper's words. "You must confront your deepest fears," the keeper had said. "Only then can you dispel the darkness." Jenna closed her eyes, forcing herself to delve into her memories. She saw her parents, who had died in a car crash when she was just a child. She saw the moments of self-doubt and failure that had plagued her throughout her life. Each vision was a dagger to her heart, but she faced them head-on, refusing to be overwhelmed. The sorcerer's laughter echoed through the darkness. "You are weak," he taunted. "You cannot defeat me." But Jenna felt a spark of defiance ignite within her. "I am stronger than you think," she declared. "I have faced my fears, and I will face you." Light began to pierce the darkness, emanating from within Jenna herself. The sorcerer recoiled, his form flickering. Jenna took a step forward, her resolve growing stronger. "You have no power over me," she said, her voice ringing with authority. "I break the curse now." With a final surge of determination, Jenna reached out and touched the sorcerer's chest. The light within her exploded, engulfing the sorcerer in a blinding radiance. He screamed, a sound of pure agony, as his form disintegrated into nothingness. The darkness lifted, and Jenna found herself standing alone in the grand hall. The oppressive weight had vanished, replaced by a sense of profound peace. The keeper appeared beside her, his eyes filled with pride. "You have done it," he said softly. "The curse is broken, and the souls are free." Jenna felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you for guiding me," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. The keeper smiled. "You had the strength within you all along. Now, it is time for you to return." Jenna awoke on the forest floor, the morning sun filtering through the trees. She took a deep breath, feeling the cool, fresh air fill her lungs. The memory of the desolate realm and the sorcerer's dark power seemed distant, like a fading nightmare. She stood up, her body aching but her spirit renewed. As she made her way back to Ashwick, she couldn't help but marvel at the transformation within her. She had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. When she reached the townsfolk greeted her with awe and gratitude. Agnes, tears streaming down her face, embraced Jenna. "You did it," she whispered. "You broke the curse." Jenna smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. She spent the next few days documenting her journey, sharing her story with the world. The legend of the Forbidden Well would be known far and wide, but more importantly, the spirits of those who had been trapped for so long were finally at peace. As Jenna prepared to leave Ashwick, she felt a profound connection to the town and its people. She had come seeking a story, but she had found something much more valuable, a sense of purpose and a reminder of the strength that lies within. As she drove away, the forest of Ashwick standing tall and serene, Jenna knew that she would carry the lessons of her journey with her forever. And somewhere, deep within the woods, the well remained, no longer a portal of darkness, but a symbol of hope and redemption.